Alright, on my last video where I talked about creating Witcher characters, Marvel characters, and Lord of the Rings characters, I got a request from a Pressy D. This is cool, could you try Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves characters? So that's going to be the majority of this video. However, I'm going to start with a really quick, short one. An individual by the name of Citizen Knight Cap 4059 said Bald Githyanki as Voldemort. So, even though I'm not going to do a whole bunch of Hogwarts characters or anything in this one, I will at least do that just for fun since it was mentioned. So, yes, Githyanki. There's only two options for the body, male and female. So Githyanki male. In my opinion, all of the characters from the wizarding world would 100% be a sorcerer because their magic is something they are born with. It's something that's, you know, innate. Which, to me, screams sorcerer. So as far as generalized looks go here, I don't know if there's a really good voice that fits him. Maybe 5.
Hells. Something just woke up down here.
More of those.
There's magic keeping this.
Let's hope.
Hells. Something just. More of those. There's magic keeping this chest sealed.
I would probably go with 5 out of all the voice options. The ears are going to be problematic. I think this one with the smaller nose, which is head 8, would probably be the closest to Voldemort. Looking at some of these other ones, I don't feel like it has the same minimalistic nose profile as is classic for the Voldemort look. I also like the eyes here, so I'm probably going to go with head 8. Skin color, obviously we're going to go as pale as possible. I think pallid 1 is actually the whitest you can go for the characters. There's also a decay tone, and it gives those dark lips would actually fit a little bit better. Yeah, actually, that is a little bit better, isn't it? So, decay 1 at the bottom here. Decay tone 1 for Voldemort. Let's confirm that. No scars. I don't think he would get any scars. I probably wouldn't increase the maturity at all. I don't think we would go with any sort of tattoo, so leave that blank. Eyes. I actually do not remember what color Voldemort's eyes are in the movie, and I know they're not really mentioned in the books from what I understand. Voldemort. I guess the actor looks like he has blue eyes. So if you were going for a movie-esque version, maybe we would go with a real pale blue. Teal doesn't quite look right. That's not bad. Blue 6 is not terrible. Maybe like that better. Yeah, blue 5. Let's go with elf blue 3 for his eyes. No makeup. Maybe you could darken the lips just a hair if you wanted to, but I'd probably leave that alone. As far as hair goes, obviously we're going to go bald. Pretty straightforward there. No facial hair either. So yeah, that's basically the generalized look I would give for Lord Voldemort. Tom Riddle. Let's see, let's edit character a little bit if we wanted to talk about stats and background. I would probably give him wild magic. I think that would fit him the best. Cantrip wise, we'd have to give him some creepy death stuff like Bone Chill. I think Ray of Frost is appropriate. Definitely the light spell. I think this would be the equivalent of them casting Lumos. And Firebolt. Those are probably the ones that I would give for the starting cantrips. Spell-wise, I think Witch Bolt is not too bad, and maybe False Life. I think those would fit Voldemort. Background would probably do Sage. Maybe Criminal for Voldemort specifically. Abilities, obviously we would max out Charisma since that's how they cast their spells. I wouldn't give him super high intelligence or wisdom. Maybe a little bit higher wisdom than intelligence. Constitution, I mean, he does take a pretty good beating. I would increase his dexterity just for roleplay purposes. Probably wouldn't have a lot of strength. So maybe something like this, 9, 14, 12, 11, 12, and 17. So that's probably the stats I would give him. So there you go. He who shall not be named. You know who. Voldemort. That's how I would build him. Even though we can't remove the ears, which would give it that final touch, I think that's the closest we're going to get in this game. All right, let's go on to Honor Among Thieves now. So the first character we'll be looking at is Edgin. So Edgin is clearly a human. I think, obviously, it's going to be a bard. I think that's pretty straightforward. I'm not really sure for cantrips or spells, since I haven't really seen him use anything like that in the movie. Starting instrument has to be a lute. That's 100% needs to be a lute. Wow, that's a pretty big lute, too. Definitely giving him a lute. Background, criminal. Yeah, possibly something like... yeah, no, criminal. Criminal, I think, would fit in the best. For abilities for him... I think he is very charismatic. I think that's how he gets everyone to even listen to him. I think his intelligence is decent, so probably give him a 12 or 13 for intelligence. His wisdom, I think he misses some obvious stuff, but I don't think I would put it too low. Constitution, I would probably keep pretty low. Dexterity, I would push up a little bit. And maybe leave his strength alone, too. I think dexterity. Again, just for role-playing purposes. So maybe something along those lines. So 8, 15, 9, 14, 11, and 17. As far as general looks go, let's see. Which one of these faces fit him the most? Ooh, that's tough. That's not a bad look there. Maybe head 8. Skin tone is kind of average, maybe a little bit of tanness to him. So I would probably go with neutral tone 3. Let's see. Eyes. He does have blue eyes. We'd probably go with a more natural blue. No. Too much. Way too much. That's not a bad shade. I would give him blue 1. No makeup. Hair. So he has that side parted short hair. And I think there's only one that really matches it if I can find it quickly here. I think this one here, which is windblown, I think that's the only hairstyle that really fits him the best. And he does have a short, scruffy beard, so we're going to have to give him the jaw clinger. So maybe, see, if I'm looking at his images on my other monitor, maybe lighten it up a little bit to neutral tone 2. How's neutral tone 1? Because he doesn't really have a lot of a tan. Yeah, maybe neutral tone 1. I think it's a little bit closer. I don't think any of these other faces fit him better. Yeah, so if I was gonna do Edgin, there you go. That's how I would make him. All right, next on the list is Holga. So Holga, definitely a human as well. Class is obviously barbarian. Background, maybe Outlander for her. I think Outlander would fit her the best. As far as abilities go, 100% without a question, you would max out her strength. 100%. Constitution would be the next one I would max that out as well. So I think strength and constitution for her 100% would fit. Maybe some dexterity. I don't know if I would touch her wisdom or her intelligence much. Because even though I think she's sharp, I don't think it, like, stands out as one of her best traits. I do think she's fairly charismatic, especially for the intimidation checks and stuff. So I'd probably give her a 13. So I would probably give her 17, 10, 16, 9, 9, and 13. As far as looks go, sorry, let me go back to edit. We're going to have to go with the large frame female for sure. Let's see. Which one of these faces feels like it's Holga? That one's not bad. I could see head 10 or head 5 being the closest fit for her. I feel like head 5 is the closest we're going to get. Probably give her one of the cooler tones here. She does have a mild tan. I don't think any of these others would fit as well. Yeah, I would probably give her cool tone 4 or 5. 5 fits a little bit better. Yeah, I would give her cool tone 5. Let's take a look at the neutral tones. Trying to look at the actress now at the picture. Yeah, I think neutral tone's a little bit better. Neutral 5 is a little bit closer. 5 or 6. Let's give her 5. So neutral tone 5. Scars, I don't remember her having any scars, and I don't see any scars in the pictures I'm looking at, so no scars. Maturity, I would actually increase her maturity a little bit, maybe about halfway. Possibly a little bit less. She did seem like she's a little bit older for the movie. I don't think she has any body art on her face. She has them on her arms, but unfortunately we cannot add tattoos to the arms or body, so we'll have to leave that alone. Her eyes look brown. They're a little bit darker brown than this, so I would go with a brown 1. Makeup-wise, it doesn't really look like she's wearing much of anything. Maybe give her a slightly darker makeup to the lips, maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't go nuts with it. And I think maybe a red 2 at 23 intensity. Hair. I think there's a long hair with... I don't know if it's called cornrows. Let's see. I think I remember seeing something like that, which is pretty close to the hair the character had in the movie. Not quite this. That's not terribly off. I guess there's no other options, but I think that's the one I was thinking of. That doesn't fit. That doesn't fit at all. So I'd probably go with Faerun Fantasia for her hair, and I would darken it to natural, black natural for the hair color. I would take off highlights because she definitely has darker hair in the movie, and I don't think I would gray it at all. If I did gray it, let's see how the graying looks. Yeah, I wouldn't go higher than like maybe a 5, just for a touch of gray. And then no facial hair, of course. So that is how I would make Holga. I feel like she would have a little bit darker complexion, though. Let's go back up to 6 again. So neutral tone 6. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Neutral tone 6. So there we go, Holga. All right, next character on our list looks like it's... See, I can't remember what they said. I thought it was Xenk, but maybe it's Xenk. Anyway, the Paladin. We're going to do with the Paladin next. So, he is also human. His class is Paladin. And he is a Paladin of Thay. Now, I feel like he's a little bit bigger than some of the other characters, so I probably would give him the biggest build, but I do think it's a little too big. But I feel like the smaller frame might not necessarily fit him as well. So I'll kind of leave that up to folks, but I might consider giving him the 4 for his frame. I'm probably going to go with 2. Looking at the comparison between the two, I think 2 is going to fit a little closer. As far as oaths go, I really feel like Oath of Devotion fits him the best. Following the ideals of the knight in shining armor, you act with honor and virtue to protect the weak and pursue the greater good. Oath of Devotion it feels like it fits him. The Vengeance does not, and the Oath of the Ancients does not, in my opinion. So I would go with that for sure. As far as background, maybe Acolyte. I think Acolyte would fit him the best. And then clearing these out, I feel like he definitely has high charisma, maybe at least a 15. Strength, I think, would be pretty reasonably high, too, maybe also around a 15. Constitution, I would definitely give him closer to a 15 as well. His intelligence and wisdom, I'm running out of points already, as you can see. I feel like he's fairly well balanced on his stats. I could have sworn you could do 15, 15, and then 12 and everything else. Maybe it was a little bit lower. If I was going to redo something, maybe take his strength down just a hair, because I feel like he does have some dexterity to him, so I wouldn't want to leave that blank. Maybe like that. That's not too bad. 14, 11, 14, 11, 11, 15, I think. I think that would fit him fairly reasonable based upon what we saw in the movie. As far as editing his overall appearance, His tone here. Trying to look. He has this. Trying to find the right shade. Maybe something in here. Is there any of these other ones? I don't think bluish would be good. This is not bad. Yeah, maybe warm tone 7. That doesn't look too shabby. I think that's a fairly close match. I feel like it's between head 2 and head 3. I think head 2 is a little bit closer, but honestly, there's not a lot of faces that fit him. I'm gonna go with that one. I didn't see any tattoos. I would probably give him a little bit more maturity, but not a lot. Body art. If there's something in the center of the forehead, even though the eye thing doesn't fit, if I was going to give anything, the Star Point Glimmer, I think, kind of fits for that forehead Paladin of Thay look. I think that's the only one I would consider out of these. So that's a possibility. Like I said, the eye thing doesn't really fit, but the symbol on the forehead does. It's kind of optional, I think. I'll think about it. I'm going to leave it for now. But I don't know. I think the eye makeup throws it off too much. Never mind, I'll take it off. Eyes. I think he had brown eyes. Maybe a brown 4. Looks pretty good. No makeup. Hair. So he's got a little bit longer hair on top. But it's also a bit wild. I don't think there's a hairstyle that's close to what he had. But I'll look. That's not quite right. That's not horrible. That is fence board shavings. That's not horrible. If this was longer, this would be a better fit. Valiant Heart, but I feel like it's not long enough. So I'd rather go with that one. It's a little bit longer. Nah, the sides ruins that. That's no good either. Nope, 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 nope. Just want to roll out other options. Yeah, no, that one up here is going to definitely fit the closest, I think. Where did it go? Where did it go? I know I just had it. There we go. Fence board shavings, I think, is the closest. Obviously, we would leave the beard as well. Black, brown. Let's go to natural black. Yeah. And I wouldn't put any highlights or graying, so make sure those are off. Yeah. And we already have the facial hair. So, there we go. That is how I would make Xenk. Paladin of Thay, or former Paladin of Thay. Now it is the Paladin. Next on the list is Simon. So Simon is actually a half-elf. So, let's go with a half-elf. I feel like he would be a half-wood elf, but it's hard to tell. I mean, maybe a high elf because of the whole magic being inborn and stuff, because he's a sorcerer. So let's go ahead and go with half-elf. Class, he's a sorcerer. Cantrip-wise, that he would get as a half-elf. Maybe Mage Hand. As far as the type of magic he has, definitely a wild magic sorcerer. Cantrips, I feel like utility fits him the best. So maybe mirror illusion, because he uses that. Dancing lights. Light. And firebolt. Yeah. Spells. I almost want to do the enhanced leap because he ended up doing the reverse gravity thing. Fog, because we saw him use that when they were traveling together before they were captured. And then maybe Maybe Featherfall because of that. Again. Yeah, Featherfall. So the mage hand kind of fits when he was stealing from the folks, so I think that kind of fits too. Background. Urchant. Yeah, sleight of hand stealth. I think that fits. Abilities. So yeah, let's crank up his charisma. He actually is very intelligent, so probably give him about maybe a 15 or a 14. Wisdom is reasonably high. I think his constitution might be on the lower side. I might not put that up too much. Definitely give him some dexterity. There we go. Let's go a little bit higher there. That's not bad. 8, 13, 10, 15, 11, and 17 for stats I think seems appropriate to me. Out of all of these faces, maybe this one, there's not a good fit. Just like for the paladin, there's not a lot of good fits for him. I think the cooler tone is a little bit closer. Maybe cool tone 6. No scars. Would not increase the maturity. No facial tattoos or anything. Eyes probably... Go with brown 1 for his eyes. No makeup. Hairstyle is definitely gonna be natural black. No highlights, no graying. And hairstyle. No. I didn't know that was shaved on the sides. What else we got? That's too long. No, that doesn't quite fit either. Too long. I mean, that kind of fits him better than it fits the paladin, actually. Yeah, let's go for fence board shavings again. No facial hair. I guess there's some light stubble, but there's not a light stubble option. It's kind of either facial hair or no facial hair, unfortunately. So that is how I would build Simon. All right, next on the list is Doric. So Doric is a tiefling. So tiefling female. Unfortunately, can't make her any smaller than that because she is teeny tiny compared to everyone else. Much shorter frame and much lither. But we'll go with that. As far as type of tiefling, they don't really cover that. So I guess we'll go with Zariel tiefling. Just because looking at the initial look of the characters, the horns and initial suggestion for skin tone seems to be at least a little bit closer to her. Cantrips, I guess we don't choose, that's fine. Her class is obviously Druid, although I'm really not sure, and this is one of my complaints about the movie. Yeah, so a Druid can only use 2 wild shapes a day. That was one thing that annoyed me about the movie, is that she uses it 7 times in a row. And unless you're like an arch druid that has unlimited usage, like level 20 druid, I don't understand. Not to mention the fact that she ended up using no magic, just wild shape. But it is what it is. Let's see if we can't create her. As far as cantrips, I have no idea for cantrips or spells because she never uses anything. As far as her abilities, again, hard to say. I didn't see any great uses of strength. Dexterity, maybe, because of how nimble she was. Constitution, I don't know. Wisdom-wise, I would probably up her wisdom. She seemed like she was pretty observant of what's going on around her, and she seemed fairly intelligent. Her charisma seemed low. She seemed to piss some people off, but they still got along decently with her. So maybe 9, 15, 10, 13, 17, and 10 as a high ballpark. Voice-wise, actually I haven't been picking voices for most of the characters, so we won't do that here either. As far as faces, maybe head 2 or 6. I feel like head 6 is the closest, so we're gonna go with head 6. As far as tone goes, neutral tone 3. Eyes, they kind of look like they were green in the movie. So maybe green 3, because they're a little on the darker side. Makeup didn't really seem like she was wearing much makeup, but maybe giving a little bit of a light tone. Maybe a little darker than that. So, yeah, there we go. Red 5 and lighten it up. Oh, a little darker. 20, 25, 28, somewhere in there. Hair. So she had red hair, so I'd probably go with the ginger 5. Hairstyle, it's kind of shoulder length with some wave to it. That's a little too short and doesn't have the wave. That's actually really good, but a little on the short side. I don't think we're going to find anything closer because the hairstyles tend to jump around pretty dramatically. That's not bad, actually. That's a little bit better. I'd probably go with that one, actually. Good thing I kept looking. Anything else stand out as being a good choice? That's the right length, but not the right style. I'm going to go back to that last one that I found. No, it's too long. Yeah, I think this sensible extravagance, I think that's probably the closest with the ginger 5. No highlights or graying. No facial hair, obviously. Horns. If we have subtler horns... It's too far in the front, but might be your only option. Her horns had a mild curl back to them, so I think out of all the choices, I think Drake Fangs is probably the best horn for her. And her horns were a little bit darker, so let's go with a, let's see, an Ash 3. So there we go, that would be Doric. Oh, she didn't have a tail either. Is there a way to not have a tail? Nope, I guess not. I don't remember her having a tail in the movie, but we'll have to go with it because that's the closest I can think of for Doric. All right, and then last but not least, let's go ahead and do Sofina. So Sofina seems like a human. Smallest frame for the female. Her class is obviously wizard. Cantrips. She seems very aggressive and attack focused. So I think we need to go with stuff like Firebolt. I think Chill Touch fits her. Maybe even Acid Splash, but it's hard to say. Let's go with Ray of Frost just because she ended up freezing the tea. Spells. Man, she had so many spells. I mean, she's definitely not a level 1. But let's pick some random stuff that seemed to fit her. There's nothing time-related, unfortunately. Maybe do some fog and some sleep. Definitely Magic Missile, Chromatic Orb, probably Shield, because I think she used that. Ray of Sickness, I think that kind of fits the whole theme for her. Prepared spells for the beginning, I would probably give her the Ray of Sickness, Shield, and Chromatic Orb. Her abilities, so clearly she is maxed out on Intelligence. I think her wisdom's fairly high as well. Her charisma is high just for the fear factor. Constitution's probably on the lower side. Dexterity might have something to it. Strength we didn't see anything of, so I'd put the rest in charisma. So 8, 9, 10, 17, 15, and 14 is probably how I'd end up building her. Face-wise, so she had kind of dainty features. I mean, I can see a 1 or a 6. Let's go with 6. Skin tone. She was very, very, very pale, so I think we're going to have to hit Decay Tone 1 for her. Yeah, Decay Tone 1. No scars. No maturity. Body art. She had those really cool head tattoos, and she had the ones around the eyes, but I don't think there's any options here that fit that. I mean, we have stuff like this, but it's too much noise all over the face. It doesn't really fit what she had. This is kind of cool, but it doesn't really have anything for the forehead, so I'm not going to actually do any of the body art stuff. With her eyes, they were definitely blue. They weren't super sharp blue, so I think blue 2 is perfectly fine. We will do makeup for sure, and we will do the makeup that completely surrounds the eyes. I will dull it just a hair or turn it into like maybe a grayish color. Yeah, that's not too bad. Lips-wise, we will give her some red, a little bit of red, because there's a little bit of color to her lips. So maybe 28 doesn't look too bad, but I want a paler color. Yeah. There we go. So we'll go with a red cold 3, and we'll go with 43. And hair, obviously, she is bald. And no facial hair. So that is what I would do for Sofina. Alright, so that covers all the characters from Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Hopefully this was enjoyable. If you like it, consider a thumb up and leaving comments. Let me know what you thought. Have a good one.